Big Brother 2025, episode 3. And finally, we've got something to talk about. The first 2 episodes, I wasn't impressed with the contestants. They were a fairly bland lot overall. But we've had some newbies go in. The guys are all in bed and they wake up to 4 new contestants, 4 new housemates. So we have Faye Shola, 35, who's a financial investigation person. We have Cameron 2, who's 25 and a personal trainer. We have Richard in his 50s, who's an author and composer. And we have George, who's unemployed but volunteers for the parish council. And he's very into politics and what have you. These 4 are fabulous. They go in like a breath of fresh air. So first things, on seeing these 4, my first 2 winners, my prediction for winners was Caroline and George. Caroline's grown on me. When she went in, I didn't like her. She had a fur coat over her shoulder and she was very, look at me. She has grown on me. I've got the dog climbing up my leg wanting to go out and I'm ignoring him for a minute. Excuse me. So she's grown on me, and George came in like a hurricane in some weird golfer's outfit, long white socks, brown pants that finished at the knee, some weird top, very odd man, great shock of ginger hair, came in like a hurricane. Richard is very, very quiet. He's an author. It will be interesting to see how many books he sells on the back of this. He's an author and composer. I'm liking him. He's quite astute. He's very much a sit back and watcher. And Faye Shola is going to be everybody's mother, I think. She's lovely. She seems very kind, very calm, very pleasant. We'll see how these 4 get on. Cameron is just, I'm guessing, I think he came from Accrington. He's Paddy McGuinness all over. If you close your eyes, you hear Paddy McGuinness. I'm giving them little tags so that we can work out who they are. So Cameron 2 is very like Paddy McGuinness. Cameron 1's the farmer, the very young, pretty blonde girl. I do call her Barbie, I do. She calls herself Barbie. How can you not? Sam is very flamboyant. So we have these little tags just so that we know who they are. So first interaction before with Faye Shola when they come in. Faye Shola and Cameron offers her a cup of tea and she wants peppermint tea and, oh, that's very bougie, he says. And she says, oh, it's good for the bowels. Why not? Later, when the newbies meet the rest of the housemates, a very early conversation, we have George and Cameron 1, the farmer, sitting on the sofa, asking where they come from. Cameron 1 says he comes from Somerset, and George comes back with, so you like cheese then? Cameron, kind of taken aback, says, yeah, mate, I don't mind a bit now and again. On the assumption that everybody from Somerset and the Cheddar Gorge loves cheese. Weird. They do some farmer talk, and then we get our first glimpse of George. George is going to ruffle feathers big time. So he's in this conversation with Cameron, and Caroline is introducing herself to the newbies, and she says, excuse me, I'm Caroline, hi, puts a hand out for him to shake. Farmer Cameron nudges George on the shoulder because he's completely ignoring her, even though it's very obvious that he's being spoken to. So Farmer Cameron nudges him on the shoulder and says, "Somebody's talking to you." And he turns round to her and he says, "Excuse me, I'm in conversation." Wow. So rude, so brittle. And Caroline says, "Oh, I was only going to say hello to you." Now we see George. He's been in the house 5 minutes and he is causing hell. Later, he's talking to Cameron about farming and politics. Cameron won, farmer. And Cameron's munching his way through a few biscuits. So George says to him, "Cameron, why are you eating biscuits at this time in the morning? They're full of shite, mate. Shite." And Cameron, the farmer, he diminishes in front of him and he says, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll eat something healthier for lunch." And he just swooped on him like a hawk. We've had him expressing his political views. He's quite acerbic. The next one is when he's in the kitchen with a crowd round him. And it's all the boys. And he says, "Oh, women and girls, they're all the same, aren't they? They look the same. They're all airheads." And Richard starts laughing and calls him on it. And he says, "Did you just say all women are airheads? All women look the same?" And he said, "Well, yeah, pretty much. You slap a bit of makeup on them and they're all vacuous. They've got nothing to say, have they?" George is really going to cause ructions in that house. I don't like him. I think he's all about cause and effect. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. We don't know yet if there's any condition there. So I'm giving him a bit of a break. He's got no filter whatsoever. Whatever comes into that man's head, he just blurts it out like a gusher. What else have we got? Cameron, obviously for obvious reasons, doesn't like George. We get some dirty looks. Caroline, for obvious reasons again, doesn't like George. We've had some looks between them. Other looks, Marcus and Elsa, the one that looks like Barbie. We have got a very sudden, straight off the bat romance brewing. I think Elsa's going to get hurt. She's laying her heart right on her sleeve. And she's out there with the goo-goo eyes and the talk of engagement rings, and they've only just met. Elsa, very odd. Elsa is in the garden talking to a group. "Yeah, I see demons." "You do?" Yeah, I see demons. I've been impregnated by one." She didn't use a big word like that, but she said, "I was pregnancy to one." I think that's what it was, very indistinct. And I listened to it back 3 times. And I think she said, "I was pregnant to one." And then the girl with the very, very strong Irish accent, very strong, comes back and she says, "You were made pregnant by one." I think that's what was said. But she definitely said, "Yeah, oh yeah. I woke up with a demon over me." Oh yeah, oh yeah, I did. So then she goes, "Yeah, I see demons all the time. I can see them in people. You haven't got one, and you haven't got one." It's like, "But you there, you're full of demons. You're going to hell in a handcart, mate." She didn't say that, but that's to come, I'm sure. So we have Elsa, who sees ghosts and spirits and dead people and demons. So, interesting characters, and the new characters are bringing life into the old characters. They've been there for 2 episodes. The new characters are sparking some life out of the original characters, which is good. They're coming to life a little bit. Again, no, that's the wrong page. Let's have a look at this page. Episode 2. Richard has this thing where he says something and he says, ha ha ha, no, I'm lying, that's not true at all. So when he came in, he said something, oh yes, I love the Big Brother house, it's very like my own house, I've got my house decorated like this. And somebody says, really? Oh no, I'm lying. And then later on, he says, my whole life is geared around being a punk rocker. Really? Oh no, I'm lying. So this is a thing that Richard does. It's his bag where he says something and then discounts it. I think that could get a little bit irritating over time. He's done it twice in one episode. George is doing his thing. He's very outspoken. They've been set a task by Big Brother. They are making eyeballs. So there's several areas of production. One lot gets covered in sloppy cement stuff as they transfer the stuff in head bucket things. The next lot have to grade them and glue them together and push them down a conveyor belt. We've got little Elsa, I think it was, on a little truck transporting them to the painting department, and then the painting people have to paint them. George and Richard, I think, George and somebody have to grade them and see that they pass muster. They have to get 52 or 50 to pass the test for luxury shopping budget, and I think they got 7. Failed massively, so they're all on limited budget emergency rations this week. However, they are paid a wage that can buy them treats. It's a currency, and the currency is the eyeballs they made. Big Brother has subsidised because they only made 7. So there are 300 eyeballs up for grabs in wages. And this is fascinating. Wonderful experiment. 300 eyeballs. The first person is called in, presumably the person who made the most, and he gets to take his wage out of the pot of 300. It's actually a she. It is, can't remember, one of the girls who's pretty vacuous, really. George is right. They haven't really come into their own yet. So one of the girls goes first. She does a bit of mental arithmetic, works out that 300 into all of them goes 20. She takes her 20. The second person, I believe, takes 25. Some of the others work out the mathematics of sharing them equally between the load. And then we have Richard. And I'll tell you about that in episode 4, because we cut there and Big Brother stops it. So episode 4 coming up. Thank you. Nice chat.